top leaders of the All Progressives Congress, APC, have ruled out the granting of automatic tickets to governors, including Akwa Ibom State Governor Umo Eno, Taraba State Governor Agu Kivas, and Rivers State Governor Simi Fubara, who joined the party recently, as well as Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, who is expected to join soon. State governors who defected to the ruling APC may face a rude shock to their political careers if the emerging signal turns out to be a reality. Reacting, the National Publicity Secretaries of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, INE, Ememobong, and the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Oladipo Johnson, said the development was expected, adding that the governors involved had made the wrong decisions. Joining us on this show to discuss the impact of throwing the APC Guba ticket open and denying the defecting governors the opportunity of an automatic ticket is Professor Anthony Killer, Director at the Commonwealth Institute of Advanced and Professional Studies, CIAPS. Good morning, Professor Killer, and good to see you on the morning show.
Good morning, everybody. Good to be here.
Good to see you, Prof. Well, Happy New Year.
Professor Killer, the subject is already well laid out. Do you think it is fair for the governors who defected from their parties to join the APC now to be told that they will not get automatic tickets, which we understand is a condition that is delaying Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano's potting, to use a common phrase, to the ruling APC. After all, it's supposed to be a quid pro quo arrangement. Now the governors have been left to, their future has been left to pure chance. What if they don't get the tickets? Do you think that they've been foolhardy, as Ememobong and Ladipo Johnson are saying?
Oh no, I think the spokespeople from the PDP and NPP are just playing politics, and that's it's unfair. They're not being informative. They're trying to be manipulative. They're just trying to score points against APC. But it must be said that the APC is at a low ebb, and they're frameable, because there are two ways to look at the situation. One is to look at it from a logical, commonsensical viewpoint. The other is to look at it from an experience and practical viewpoint. Whichever way you look at it, the APC comes out badly. If you look at it from a logical, commonsensical point of view, it is very safe to assume that those who defected did so with some conditions, some conversations about their future. And it's incredible to believe that they defected without any conversations about their future, their second term. So if they discussed it and they gave them hints, or they assured them that they will get their ticket, and they then pull away that assurance or agreement for them, it will tell you that the people in APC are a group of people who do not keep to agreement, who really cannot be trusted. If you look at it from another side, using experience and some practical factors, those who have knowledge of the way primaries work, and I have some knowledge about that, will let you know that primaries are really managed at the national level. It is Abuja who sends those who will conduct election. They are the one who follow the process. So in reality, whatever is said, if Abuja wants you to get a ticket in the state, you can still get it. If what they're doing is something Machiavellic to show the world or to assuage some people, and it's a possibility that they're just making this announcement to assuage some people and perhaps even gain some money from selling primary tickets and, give their process some sort of validation, it tells you they're manipulative, they're not transparent, and they're not straightforward with the people. So whichever way, APC loses. But one thing, that is APC, and then the other side, you have all those spokespeople, just trying to be manipulative themselves, trying to score some cheap points. But one thing I would like citizens to look at, and this is very important, is that with all these games going on, it is clear that politicians are so dedicated to their own self-interest, to navel-gazing. The reason why they leave party to the other has nothing to do with the benefit of citizens. The reason why they want to change and they're negotiating has little to do with the condition of the citizen. It has very little to do with some kind of ideas, let alone ideology. I think these are the issues that we need to be looking at as well. And we should not leave out the partisan thing, but we should lose out the citizenry aspect. Because in this, neither government of the day nor opposition parties are coming out well.
Okay. I think most people do feel that, these are statements that must be made in sort of the public interest because it would appear undemocratic, to make such a blanket proclamation publicly. Having said that, it really does spotlight the state of internal party democracy. Now, we've seen internal party democracy crumble, so to speak, in the opposition, even within the ADC. We're seeing signs of tension within that coalition as well. The APC recently inaugurated a committee that was, targeted towards conflict resolution and strategy and so forth. But do you think that, given that there are several new members, there will be those who are aggrieved, who will not get what they want out of this process? Do you think the APC's internal party democracy is strong enough to withstand the challenges that are about to arise because of the union of strange bedfellows that has just been created?
No, I do not think so. I think the system that we run overall in Nigeria is a system that has little regard, little structure for internal democracy. We run a vertical system. I've always said it that modern democracy, what we run is barbarism. There are too many people in political parties who are not worthy of being called leaders. We give the job of men to boys, the job of women to girls. In a political party, and I want our viewers, a lot of people don't know this thing because they're not close to millions of people are not close to the few thousands who are operative in political parties. Nigerian political parties is an association where one man is in charge of the whole structure of the state, the local government, or even nationally, and other people are dependent on this person. It is not an association of equals, of independent people, where you have strong ideas. Now, one thing must be said. In this republic, if there was one party that was near being an association of equals, it is actually the PDP. The PDP of up to four years ago. The other political parties were Buhari and others, Tinubu and others, this and others. And this thing affects us. This is why people are so interested in their own survival. They want tickets, they want nominations, and when they don't get it, they leave those parties. Because what is uniting them is not dignity, it's not idea, and it's not commitment to a cause. Those are the issues we need to look at. So to that extent, when you say would they be able to survive it, they will resolve it because might will be right. You can't get governor, they offer you something else. And then they promise you to become, unless of course, like the origin of the APC, there are people who are so angry with those in government that they will take anything to sit down there because they have nowhere else to go. The issue of nowhere else to go is another factor we should be watching out for by the mid of this year, end of this year, actually by the middle of this year. Some people are going to be stuck.
Okay. Some are already stuck. Anyway, Professor Kila, and good to see you again. So, no, they're already stuck. Let me use the word of Mark Carney today. For them, it's not a transition; it's a rupture. they're already ruptured as we speak.
Yeah.
Even those
fantastic prose by Mark Carney.
Yeah, even those that joined the APC, I'm sure as they made this announcement, their ambitions are already ruptured. I'm not looking at anything happening in Rivers State, but I'm just talking to the ether. I'm sure some people, as they hear that there's no automatic tickets in Rivers State, they're already shaking. But it goes back to what the ethos of democracy is supposed to be, which originally comes from the Greek word demokratia, which means government of the majority. And the majority here should be the people making the decision. in all of these party movements that they are doing, do they really consider the people? And do they really understand the historical antecedents? Maybe the last election cycle didn't teach them anything. That for the fact that you join a leading party is not an open sesame that you win a governorship election.
I think it is clear that politicians do not consider the people, but most of the people do not position themselves in a way to be considered either. You know, truth be said, we run a very unbalanced democracy that is very strange. There is a vacuum. Let's start this way. The assumption of democracy is that the people are equal and the people are informed. And the people can, focus on the greater good. Those are some basic assumptions that are far from reality overall. What we have here, and if you look at the people who are active in politics, it will be very difficult to consider them equal, enlightened, and dedicated to a cause. Then the rest of the citizens do not actually believe they have a voice. They do not act that way. We the people look at democracy too much as a right. We do not see it as a duty that has to be done. How many people do you know, and I want people watching us to look left and right, how many people do you know that have donated money to political parties? And I want people to watching us at home to look at their left and right in their offices and at home. How many people have written letters to government offices, to political parties, to express their dissent or offer opinion or call attention to things? So in a way, when you say, when Rufai Hussein reminds us that democracy is a government of a majority, and we should be honest to accept that in actually what we run is a government of a very tiny minority who are talking amongst themselves. Look, APC is made up of close to 60% of people in APC were in PDP before. They just flow left and right. Look at the ADC. That's a rainbow. Everybody's there. Everybody's everywhere. But it's the same people. We're running a situation of less than 0.001%. And because of that, because they fund politics, they decide there is no consequence, there is no fear of the people. Of course, the people don't matter to them. And this thing, it's not even because they're evil. It's because it's physiological and logical. That is what's going to happen if they are left to their devices. People are not afraid of what will happen to them if they act one way or the other. There is no there is no anger, there is no scandal anymore. We're numb to things. So of course those in power are going to act any way they feel like acting.
Okay. Now, given the situation that some of the governors who have relocated to the ruling party because they want to be close to the center, they've given the excuse that the whole idea is so that their people are not excluded from the center, even if we all know that they are doing so for their own selfish interest. Now that they may not get that position that they are looking for, the guarantee that they are seeking, do you see the possibility that some of them will probably go back to where they are coming from, where there was greater certainty? Or is it clear that they've all burned their bridges and whatever awaits them in the ruling party is what they will take, whether they are offered another position or not? It will look like, what is that phrase by President Trump? Great stupidity to have gone into another party without any guarantees. What do you think?
Well, I because of my consideration of most of the people who defected, let me say, I have a bias. I have very little regard for people who leave opposition and join the ruling party. In my mind, they lack character, they lack vision, and they lack stamina, and they lack a lot of what it takes to be called leaders. Because you cannot tell me you didn't know who Bola Ahmed Tinubu was 2 years ago. You discovered it now. You're living because of him. You cannot say for you to rule your state very well, you have to be part of the center. That, allow me to say, is unacceptable nonsense. So because of that, I do not trust their character, that they have enough dignity not to go back. But I believe they will not go back because I think this declaration is a farce. I think this is just to assuage people, not even people like me, maybe people like Rufai Hussaini, to make sure that he cannot accuse them of not being democratic. It's a tokenism. I think behind this there are bigger deals. Because these people say what you like. They might not be good at fixing road. They might not be good at keeping our streets secure or fixing our schools, but they're very good in preserving their own interest and their position. So as a result, I think they have deals that they're not telling us. But it shows us again how insincere our political class are. In front of us, they're saying one thing and doing the other, and it's very sad for the country.
No, you're correct. You're very correct, Bros. Okila, because I know some deals. I know some deals have been done already. So let's keep deceiving ourselves.
Professor Kila, there was a very interesting comment that was floating on our screen as we now have YouTube feedback scrolling on our screen, and they were saying that this non-automatic ticket proclamation was targeted at Fubara. What are your thoughts on that?
It might be targeted. I think it might be targeted at him. It's also targeted a bit like people like you, so that you will not accuse them of that. But I think whichever way is bad, it is possible it is targeted at Fubara because Fubara has an opponent, a man who is a minister, a leader of opposition, a leader of government in power, a very rare essence in the atomic table, as it were. A very unclear figure who on one side they want to keep, on the other side they struggle to tolerate. So it is possible they play different games to assuage this kind of size. The APC and the president and the people in power are in a situation where they want to eat their cake and have it. So they're forced to play these kind of games, yes.
So it goes back to political eating your cake and having it. Eating your cake and having it, doesn't it boomerang sometimes? Because when you look at the grand ideology, the fact that, okay, there's a fight between Wiki and Fubara. They probably have said this to be able to say, it's not going to be hunky-dory for you, Fubara. There's no automatic ticket and all of that. But in saying this, also, other governors are looking what's going on. They are trying to check the agreements that they have already. That is certain. Look at the case of the Kano governor, for instance. He's been going back and forth. I'm sure it's because agreement has not agreed or agenda has not agended, if there's anything like that. Pardon my French. That's why he's been going back and forth. So is he not going to boomerang?
But you said this is part of... It's unfortunate that the people leading us, who are faces and who represent us, are politicians, because politicians, we allow them to get away with a lot of things that is not acceptable in other professions. The truth of the matter is that those situations that you refer to, the Kano situation, truth is not just about the governors that want to defect from his party to the other. It is still this, as you rightly put it, eating your cake and having it, because they still want to assuage the leader of that party, Mr. Kwakwanso, as well. They're playing with two things. They're trying to see which one can we get. Can we get both? Can we pretend to get both? Can we eat our cake and have it? Really, that's what they're playing with. And they're trying to calculate as well, which is the best way to get one of the two? Where do we gain more from? Is it from the party leader or is it from the state governor? Those are the calculations they're making. The other thing that needs to be said is this. The case of Rivers and the case of Kano stands out, because they talk, they make noise, they're significant. But within the party, across the federation, there are also some silent issues, to use your word and Kenny's voice, that have not ruptured, that are just calmly there at the moment, and have not truly ruptured up, come out to that situation, because there are states where the people who have defected from the opposition party to join government party are sworn enemies. So egos at stake. There are states where the balance was pointed to one person that will get the ticket, either governor or senator, and another person has come in So the balance is all at stake as well. So this declaration of saying there will be no automatic ticket, I expect it to follow up with other seats as well, Senate, to assuage a lot of people. But I think we're having two levels of conversations. I believe it is not true. I believe it's a farce. I believe behind doors, some people are reassured.
In the spirit of uniformity, can they also say there will not be automatic ticket for the seat of the president, so that we know that it's a balanced argument, not just for governors?
Okay, that is you being naive there, because I've told you that we're not doing democracy, we're doing barbarism. What we practice is a system of all animals are equal, but some are more equals. Yeah, it's barbarism. Some people are untouchable, in the way it is said. Again, to go back to that quote, the rigor that we use for our process depends on the victim and the oppressor.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Anthony Kila.